This is our full-scale replica of the Wright Flyer. Two brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright, completed the world's first powered flight on December 17th of 1903. What was different about the Wright brothers is that they were their own engineers, their own pilots, their own aircraft builders, own mechanics. Every aspect of the aircraft and every version they built, they had a hand in, a major hand. And their first flight only lasted 12 seconds. It took place at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And they did many versions before this flight. They started with kites and gliders, and then eventually got to the Flyer, which, as you can see next to Orville there on the left, is the engine. Now, the reason he's laying down flat is that there is a mechanism called wing warping they came up with, so they can control the movement of the aircraft with the movement of their hips. As you can see, all the wires attached from the top to bottom wings, that is how they would control the aircraft. It was truly incredible what these two gentlemen accomplished. Now, not long ago, we received a gift from the Armstrong family. These two pieces are on loan from the family. It is an actual fabric swatch of the Wright Flyer and an actual piece of the propeller that flew with Neil Armstrong to the moon on the historic Apollo 11 mission, when he was the first man to walk on the moon. Amazing pieces to have right here in Weatherford, Oklahoma at the museum. Now we'll make our way through Early Aviation Gallery. On the left here you have the Blériot. Louis Blériot was the first man to cross the English Channel solo. Up above we have the Curtiss Pusher. The Curtiss Pusher was the first plane to take off and land on the deck of a ship. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, what are the red rockets up on top? And I don't have a good story for those. They are fuel tanks, but they look really cool. Over here we have the Spirit of St. Louis and Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh was the first man to cross the Atlantic solo. It took him 33.5 hours, and the only way that he could see out is that little box above the window. He had to have so much fuel to make it across the ocean that instead of having a windshield, there was a fuel tank where it would have gone, as well as fuel tanks within the wings. An incredible journey that really altered the history of aviation and really the perspective that people had on flight. A lot of people thought we would never have commercial airlines, and Charles Lindbergh really changed that viewpoint by showing that it is a safe way to travel. Just a few short years after his accomplishment, a famous aviatrix named Amelia Earhart accomplished this feat as well. And she's from a small town in Kansas called Atchison, Kansas. And if you get a chance, they have a festival every summer, and you should go check it out. It's really neat to celebrate her birthday. Over here is the Sopwith Pup. It was an English fighter aircraft, and it was one of the first aircraft to have a mechanism in the engine timed with the trigger on the machine gun so that the bullets would not hit the propeller and come back at the pilot. So it made it warfare a lot safer for these pilots in the air. Now, what we like to say here at the Stafford Air and Space Museum is that we are the children of explorers. Maintain the legacy. It is up to each of us to do our part, to explore, to keep learning, and to never stop, and to work hard and keep pushing forward. Right now we're going to go into the Rockets of the Space Race exhibit. And we're going to start with this little guy in the corner. It's called the Goddard rocket. Robert Goddard from Massachusetts was the gentleman to come up with the first liquid-fueled rocket. And it only flew for 2.5 seconds on its first flight. But those 2.5 seconds were so significant in getting us from there all the way to our moon rocket and then to the space shuttle to go to the International Space Station. General Stafford actually flew 3 different types of rockets. He flew the Titan II on his Gemini 6 and Gemini 9 missions. He flew the Saturn 1B on the Apollo-Soyuz mission with the Russians. And then he flew the Saturn V on his moon mission, Apollo 10, to set up for Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to be able to land on the moon on Apollo 11. Now, just to give you an idea of scale, this rocket is the size of the Chase Bank building in downtown Oklahoma City, which is approximately 36 stories tall. And that is how tall this rocket is in real life. And the astronauts would sit at the very, very tip top, right there by the tower. Now there are 5 engines on this rocket. They look pretty small in the model. They're called F1 engines, and they're actually the world's largest rocket engine. And what's really, really cool is that we actually have one of these rockets here at the Stafford Air and Space Museum. Right here. So this is an actual F1 engine. Each engine can generate more than 35 million horsepower. And just to give you an idea of power, that is more than 56,000 John Deere tractors. Truly incredible. Now over here on the wall, we have a good picture of Apollo 10 lifting off from the launch pad with all engines firing and leaving the launch pad for its mission. Now in your 2 fun activities we have scheduled for you today, it'll be mostly about the rockets. So you're going to make a straw rocket and you're going to make a balloon rocket. The balloon rocket will really show you how thrust works. Depending on how much air you have in the balloon is how fast or how far your balloon's going to go, as well as what your design of the balloon is. If you have smaller balloons, larger balloons. So yeah, you guys are going to have a lot of fun with your experiments. Now this in here is General Stafford's actual flown Apollo 10 suit that he wore on his Apollo 10 mission. And as I said earlier, this mission set up for Apollo 11 and allowing the astronauts on Apollo 11 to land on the moon. On this mission, General Stafford, as well as John Young and Gene Cernan, set the all-time human speed record returning from this mission. And they were going over 24,000 miles an hour. I cannot even comprehend that. Truly a remarkable speed. And what they accomplished on this mission was so huge in that, as I said earlier, they were able to get everything ready, everything set, so that the astronauts of Apollo 11 could land on the moon. And this small town kid from Oklahoma, General Thomas P. Stafford, played a major key role in landing men on the moon. Here we have a command module, command and service module. So this is what would be on top of the Saturn V rocket, or as I said earlier, the Chase Bank Building rocket. Now the astronauts would sit up here in the cone shaped part, or the Hershey Kiss shaped part, and there would be 3 astronauts that would go up into space. So this was our moon vehicle. This is what took our astronauts to the moon. There's another launch photo with the diagram. And then you can see the service module, the command module where the astronauts sit, and then the lunar module, which would land on the surface of the moon. On General Stafford's mission, the command module's name was Charlie Brown, and the lunar module's name was Snoopy. Before Apollo, we had the Gemini program, and General Stafford flew on 2 Gemini missions, Gemini 6 and Gemini 9. Here at the museum, we actually have General Stafford's flown Gemini 6 spacecraft. On this mission, General Stafford and Wally Schirra would complete the world's first rendezvous with Gemini 7. Why this mission was significant is without rendezvous, we would not be able to dock with the International Space Station like we do today, and we would not be able to do a lot of things that we did with the moon missions, as far as docking and undocking with the lunar modules and command module. So a very, very significant mission. On this mission as well, just a funny story with December and Christmas right around the corner. General Stafford and Wally Schirra radioed down to Mission Control and said, "We see some UFOs. We're not sure what it is. There's at least 7 of them, but we're not sure what it is. And there's one bigger one that makes up the 8. And they just go on, and Mission Control just goes silent. They don't know what's going on. Nothing's on their radar. They can't see anything. And all of a sudden, General Stafford and Wally Schirra start playing Jingle Bells with a set of bells and a harmonica. And Mission Control just rolls their eyes because just these astronauts were pranksters. And there's a lot of backstories and behind-the-scenes stories just like that that are super fun. But those two instruments became the first 2 instruments ever played in space. And they are on display at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, out of all the rockets General Stafford flew, the Titan II on his Gemini missions was his favorite. He said it was the race car of the rockets. And this right here in front of me is an actual Titan II rocket, right here in our museum. And on this banner, you can see it taking off, one of them taking off from the launch pad. And I love the quote on it. It says, "The beginning of the brave new mission to put a man on the moon." Now we're going to jump back to Apollo. As you can see, there's Snoopy. And as I said, that was General Stafford's lunar module's name, was Snoopy. So he holds a special place in our hearts here at the Stafford Air and Space Museum. There's some shuttle artifacts. Like I said, we don't have time to go through everything, so you'll have to come and visit. And as we add more, we are expanding the museum. We will have 400 new exhibits within the next few years. This right here is our newest exhibit. This is a full-scale replica of the lunar module. So this is what the astronauts landed on the moon. You can see one going down the ladder and another already standing on the moon's surface. Now, Snoopy, General Stafford's lunar module, didn't land on the moon. It was not ready. All the components weren't ready. It was too heavy. And that is one reason Apollo 10 astronauts were not the first astronauts to land on the moon. Snoopy is actually still out there, and it has an Oklahoma flag on it. It is just flying in the vastness of space as we speak. And yeah, it'd be really neat if we could recover it and actually pull the Oklahoma flags and a few things off of it. So that is a quick tour of our facility. I'm going to walk you through just our remaining 2 galleries we have so you can at least see everything. We're not going to be able to talk about everything, but that way this gives you a really good idea of all that we have here at the Stafford Museum. This over here on my right is an NK-33 engine. This is a Russian engine. So there would have been over 30 engines on their moon rocket, and this would have been one of them. They did never make it to the moon, but we are the only facility in the world that has a Russian NK-33 engine as well as an F1 engine. A different view of our moon rocket engine. This right here is the fixed space shuttle simulator. All 135 crew members trained in, and it's just a very, very special piece of history. I get goosebumps every time I'm by it. The shuttle astronauts that we lost trained in this trainer, and it has so many stories. If it could talk, and I wish it could, it would be amazing to hear all of the stories that it has. Here's a good photo op for your family. There's Alexei Leonov, the commander of the Soyuz for the Apollo-Soyuz mission, and of course our very own General Stafford. So with our connection to Russia and General Stafford's connection and friendship with Alexei Leonov, we have many Russian artifacts in our collection. Now we get into modern aviation. Here's the Bell X-1, the first plane to break the sound barrier. This is a full-scale replica. That was a lot of fun to hang. We have an F-86, a Russian MiG, T-38 Talon, and F-16 Fighting Falcon, one of General Stafford's favorite. In his career, he actually flew over 130 different types of aircraft. And just around this corner, you can see in that gallery in there with the open windows, that is where our F-117 stealth fighter will go. And it should be here by the middle of the summer next summer. So that's going to be exciting as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick tour of the Stafford Air and Space Museum. I really hope you can bring your families out and come see us. And just know that, just like General Stafford, no matter where you come from, even just a small town in western Oklahoma, you can go to the moon. General Stafford did. And one of his quotes that we love to say here at the museum is what he said in that, I grew up during the Dust Bowl and Depression, and I flew to the moon. Don't tell me anything is impossible. Thanks for coming along for the journey. You guys have fun with your activities. That's what's up next.